Hello and welcome back to the Happy Accidental Gardener channel. My name is Estelle. I am your Happy AG. If you have been here before, welcome back. If you've never been here before, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how seed starting doesn't always go as well as we plan. Some of it, most of it, was my fault. Yeah, most of it was my fault. Let's get started. In a previous episode of the Happy AG channel, I talked all about seed starting and what I wanted to grow and how I was going to grow it, and I had a list and a chart and it was great. And then two things happened. One, I found out I might move, and then I had to rethink my entire garden plan. Why? Because, well, for instance, cucumbers. I was growing vining cucumbers. I had a trellis set up. It was great. But if I had to move during the middle of growing season, which no one wants to do, how was I going to take any of that with me? Sweet potatoes, tomatoes, corn, squash, all of those things that take up tremendous amount of space, I had to rethink all of it. And I did. I found bush, dwarf, or container varieties of everything I wanted to grow. It was great. It was awesome. And I reseeded. I started all over. And the second thing that happened was after starting all over, and after my seedlings started to sprout, and after I was super proud of them, I accidentally killed them all. One of my plant lights is one that also generates heat because tomatoes and peppers and watermelon seeds like a warm environment to grow. And everything was in the same kind of plastic little greenhouse, getting along and getting its artificial sunlight and getting its warmth, and it was gorgeous. And then one night, I accidentally left the light on longer than I should have. I know, it should have been on a timer, but it wasn't. And so I essentially cooked my seedlings. So, what's a happy gardener to do when a not so happy accident happens? Chalk it up to experience and start over, which I was very, very willing to do. But by that time, very close to the beginning of planting outside season. So I made an executive decision. I decided to buy seedlings of some of the more difficult to propagate plants. So tomatoes and peppers, I bought seedlings. Buying seedlings is never a bad thing. Starting from seed is great if you can do it, but it's not always easy. And even when things do propagate and grow and start and look great, sometimes bad things happen. So this year I bought bush tomato seedlings, determinate, not dwarf. Determinate just means that they grow to a specific size, usually 3 to 5 feet, and you get a certain number of tomatoes, and that's it for a season, as opposed to indeterminate, which will keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing and growing until the first hard frost. I was able to find pepper plants in multiple colors, so I'll be getting green and red and yellow and purple and lilac, so those are new varieties for me. And I also still have the seeds from the dwarf and container plants that I bought because I still might move. So today we'll be planting some things in pots and we'll be direct sowing some other things that grow more easily. Let's get started. I've got all 4 buckets set up for tomatoes. Tomatoes are heavy feeders, so when recharging your soil, you definitely want to make sure that you add enough of your slow-release granular fertilizer. It is time to get these tomato plants in the soil. Some of them I bought in 4-packs, some of them I bought in 1-up. So I'm going to be planting 1 tomato plant per 5-gallon container. That's pretty much all you want. Whether it's determinate or indeterminate, 1 tomato plant per 5-gallon container. And if I have extra containers or extra room, when this is over, I will definitely plant more tomatoes. I do also have to say, if I do have to move and I can't take all of them with me, I can definitely be kind and bless one of my neighbors with a tomato plant. These are a little root bound, but you just want to break up the cube a little bit. See, a little root bound? But you just want to break up the little cube a little bit as you're putting it in the soil. And tomato plants can be buried up to 2/3 of their height because they will sprout roots all along their stem to help anchor them in place. When taking plants, any plants, not just tomatoes, when taking any plant out of a container, you never want to grab it by the stem and pull. You always want to loosen it up by squeezing the container a little bit and kind of sliding it out, wiggling it out, so that you don't stress the stem or hurt the plant. Getting the containers ready for pepper plants is the same as getting them ready for the tomato plants. I am just digging up and aerating the soil a little bit right before I add the fertilizer. I am using Epsoma Garden Tone. It is an organic, granular, slow-release fertilizer. Great general fertilizer for all kinds of fruit, vegetables, and herbs. Again, not sponsored. I just really love their stuff. And I will be mixing this fertilizer into each of the 6 pots that I am prepping to grow peppers this year. Now, again, this is 1 pepper plant per 5-gallon bucket. It doesn't matter what variety of pepper, sweet, hot, or super hot, you want to put 1 plant per 5-gallon bucket. When it comes to gardening, there are some things that germinate way more easily than others. Things like cucumbers, zucchini, squash, and green beans. So those things, I didn't buy seedlings, but I do have seeds, and I'm going to direct sow, which just means dropping the seeds in the ground and waiting for them to sprout. In these 4 containers, we've got 2 types. This is Black Beauty zucchini and 8-ball. And that's crookneck dwarf and lemon. And they're actually yellow squash that are shaped like little round lemons. In these 2 containers here, we've got bush cucumber and bush string bean. These are still open. These last 2 on the end are still open for some succession planting. And I've still got a couple of containers left if I decide to plant more tomatoes. We'll see what happens. It has been a busy afternoon in the garden. I got a lot done. Here is what the garden plot looks like after today's activities. You can see it is a little more crowded. Here we've got 4 tomato plants. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the corner back here, we've got 6 pepper plants. As always, if you like what you saw today, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you want to know when I post new content. Thank you so much for stopping by. Have a great day, and I'll see you around the garden.